I didn't start out planning to leave. I started the day the way I always do, with a bucket, a brush, and hands that don't argue. Mr. Patel's car first, he likes it done before the shop opens, then Mrs. Burns' front garden where the hedges always bite back. By 8 I was walking the estate with a canvas bag of ad magazines thudding my hip, letterboxes coughing back the taste of metal. It rained and stopped and rained again. I didn't mind. Rain makes the cars look worse, which makes the clean look better. It makes people tip more, too, when you're the idiot out there dripping and smiling. I've never been the proud type. Pride doesn't fill your pockets. Pride doesn't keep the lights on when the meter starts its angry beeping. My grandmother says, better to wear out your hands than your soul. She keeps the house warmer with sayings like that than we keep it with the old radiator. She's small and careful, like someone learning to carry a full glass of water without spilling. When I got back for tea she had already set out 2 mugs and the sugar bowl, though she knows I don't take sugar. Habit. Love is mostly habit in our house. You're late, she said, not looking up from the radio. It's always on, even when it only finds static. Mrs. Byrne wanted the ivy off the fence, I said. The ivy wanted to live. Did you charge her for the ivy's resistance? I smiled and kissed the top of her head. Her hair still smells like the same shampoo she's used all my life, lavender that doesn't have anything to do with the plant. Saved you a scone. You saved me half a scone, she said, eyeing the plate. Thief. We ate in the small silence that comes after jokes. I watched the steam twist up from her cup and tried not to think about the envelope in the drawer next to the cooker. My money. Not a lot, but weighty in the way that hope gets heavy when you carry it too long. Notes flattened and reflattened. Coins in a separate tin so their clatter doesn't give the game away. What's next? She asked. The docks, I said. They put up a notice at the corner shop, day labor for a big cruise ship. Carrying luggage, moving crates. Good pay for a day. She made the face she makes when the story is not yet finished but she can hear the ending already. Keep your head down. I always do. And keep your head up, she added, as if that would balance it. I finished my tea and the half-spoon I hadn't saved her, and pulled on the jacket with the broken zip. I checked the drawer again without opening it, the way you do when you're making sure a door is locked. The money isn't going anywhere. That's what I've told myself every night for years. It isn't going anywhere, until it does. The docks were loud with the kind of noise that feels like a challenge. Forklifts whining. Men calling to one another over the clank of chains. Seagulls that don't earn their noise at all. And there she was, the ship, white and impossible against the early light, windows like rows of rich people's teeth. I had seen pictures on buses and in the back pages of those ad magazines I stuffed through letterboxes, but the pictures lied. They made it smaller. They didn't show how the ship makes the water itself look poorer. We lined up by a portable cabin to sign our names and show our hands to a woman with a clipboard who could tell in a second if you were going to break or not. Name, she said without looking up. I told her. You carried before? Furniture, building supplies, once a piano. That last one wasn't true, but it felt like something my hands would have done if the chance had showed up. She looked up then, at the hands, not me. You'll do. Steel cage to be dock. Don't get in the way of the forklifts unless you're made of rubber. We got high-vis vests that smelled of other people's sweat and started moving the world, one suitcase at a time. I learned quickly that rich people travel with their furniture. Trunks as big as wardrobes. Boxes that clinked when you were gentle and screamed when you weren't. Everything had a label and a number and a destination that wasn't mine. I worked the way I always do when there's nothing else to do, head down, steady, polite. Hand the case, nod, back for the next. The men around me swore like punctuation. By midday my back was a question mark I couldn't answer. That's when he found me, the crewman with the sharp haircut and the soft shoes. You, he said, because he didn't know my name and didn't need to. You're quick. Practice, I said. You want a bonus? He jerked his thumb towards the gangway. Galley's short a runner. One of ours didn't show. We just need the day, maybe two, until we make the first stop. I followed his thumb with my eyes, and it felt like I was looking down the barrel of a decision. My grandmother's voice arrived without being asked, keep your head down. Keep your head up. Better to wear out your hands. I wasn't wearing anything out faster than my chance. What does it pay? I asked, because money is a language I speak. He told me a number that made the envelope in the drawer stir in my memory. It wasn't riches, but it was louder than anything else I'd heard that day. You got ID? He asked, almost as an afterthought. I had the card from the temp agency and the wrinkled copy of my national insurance number folded in my wallet like a prayer. I handed him both and tried to look like the kind of person who belonged to paperwork. He nodded once. You're tall enough and you're not complaining. That's 90% of the job. He pointed to a hatch near the foot of the gangway where men in white jackets were smoking in a knot. Tell them Marco sent you. Marco, I repeated, like a test I didn't want to fail. He was already gone, shouting at a forklift for thinking it was a dancer. I stood there a moment longer, sudden light in my chest and the spray from the harbor misting my face, and looked back the way I'd come. The line of day laborers still moved like a machine, hands up, hands down, back and forth. I could have stayed there. I could have finished the day and gone home with sore shoulders and enough money for the meter and bread and maybe something sweet if Gran pretended not to see me hide it in the cupboard. I could have sat at our wobbly table and told her about the ship, about how its sides looked like the face of a thing that knew your name and would not say it. I didn't go home. The hatch was closer than it looked. Things were either too near or too far on that dock, distance is more about courage than meters. The men with the white jackets watched me the way white jackets do, like a stain that might not come out. Marco sent me, I said, and showed them the papers before my voice could make me sound smaller. They gave me a jacket that smelled like onions and steam, and a pair of shoes that were a little too short. No mobile on the floor, one said. No talking to guests, said another. No touching anything glass unless you're told to. One of them flicked my collar straight. And don't disappear. We're a man down and the ship sails at 4. Sails. The word made me think of fabric and wind and something old, even though the engines grumbled under my feet with a certainty that felt like a hand at my back. The galley was a world inside the world. Heat, light, knives moving in clean lines, steel surfaces you could mistake for mirrors if you forgot what you were. Everyone had a job and mine was to be everyone's legs. Runner, they called it, which is exactly what it was. Trays to the service lift, crates to the cold room, messages from the pastry station to the head chef who didn't hear messages so much as accept outcomes. I learned the map by getting lost in it. It smelled of butter and bleach and the kind of order I don't have in my life. I liked it. I liked having a place to be and a reason to be there, even if that reason was a hole in their day in the shape of someone else. You're quick, a woman at the soup station said, sliding bowls into a line that never ended. Quick gets asked back. I'm just here for the day, I said, though it felt like a lie even then. You never know, she said, and I saw that she did know, at least more than I did. At 3, Marco reappeared like a magician. Still here, he said, surprised but not unhappy. Can you read a list? If it's written down. He handed me a clipboard. Stores. We're short on fruit and table water upstairs. You take the lift to deck 3, ask for Anna. Don't get lost. If you get lost, don't look like you're lost. I took the lift, which is a small thing to say about a small space that makes your stomach forget what it's for. When the doors opened I stepped into a corridor that didn't belong to the same ship as the galley. Carpets thick enough to catch your feet if you owed them money. Lights hidden in the ceiling so you couldn't see what made them generous. People walked past me smelling like airports and better seasons. I kept my eyes on the clipboard and counted the doors the way you do when you don't want to count the looks. At the end of the corridor a set of glass doors opened onto a lounge with a view of the world I come from, suddenly far away. Water and sky, both pretending to be forever. A girl laughed somewhere out of sight and the laugh skipped along my skin like a pebble on a pond. I didn't look for her. That's the kind of thing that gets you noticed. Anna gave me a trolley stacked with cases of water and the kind of fruit that bruises when you apologize to it. "Tell Marco he still owes me," she said. Everyone owed everyone something up here. I took the trolley back the way I'd come, trying not to run it over the carpet, trying not to breathe like I was borrowing their air. At 4, the ship announced itself with a horn so deep it found the bones I'd inherited and hummed in them. To be continued in Part 2. Thanks for watching, please like, share and subscribe.